During the campaign, you mentioned a number of times that the public should have more access to the city council. You also have mentioned the probability of forming more committees and commissions which would report to the St. George City Council, thus providing more public input. Would you expand on these ideas, please?
Sure. It has been one of the the planks in my platform, if you will. I think that the more involved we can be as citizens in our government, the better off we're all going to be. And I think that apathy comes from the feeling and maybe reality that government isn't listening to us. So I would advocate and hope that the City Council would support me in this, but I would advocate that we have at least once a month at a regular City Council meeting. Those are on Thursdays. This would be a regular council meeting with cameras rolling and everything, that we would have an open forum for the public to come in just for even 15 minutes each month, say the first Thursday. So everyone knew that's when it's going to be. Other cities have done this. This isn't groundbreaking, but it's groundbreaking here because it would give a person a chance on any, at least that once a month, maybe every week. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Let's start with once a month, 15 minutes towards the first of the meeting, and say, and maybe we'd want to do it at 5 or 5:15 so people can be off work, and they can come say their piece. It might be for 15 minutes, might be for 5, might be for 3, depending on how many people are there. I don't see the harm in doing that. Currently, we're doing it. Councilman Almquist and I advocated for this 6 years ago, and we were allowed to do it on the every 5th Wednesday. It's a little bit hard to remember. It's a separate meeting, and I just think it makes sense to do it on a Thursday, a regular meeting. So that's the first thing. Second thing is advisory boards. We already have some, and we don't need to add more government, and that's not what I want to do. But what I would like to do in some other advisory boards, ones that we've had before that I think we're missing and we could utilize again. The airport board. I do think we need it. I think it's a great opportunity to involve people. We have people in our community from all walks of life, and that's just one example of a place. We've got a guy that just moved into Sun River, I found out last night, who I believe built the San Diego airport. So there's one we could do: airport board, animal shelter board, veterans advisory board, things that we need to do to pay more attention to. They don't make the decisions, they advise us. I think it's a good way to listen.
Thank you, John. Anybody else want to jump on that one? Dan?
I'd like to say something because we do have boards. We have one that's at the animal shelter and it needs to have another person added to it. But some of these others, the reason we did away with some of them, we couldn't keep a quorum there. We appointed other people and they just didn't come to those things. I think we have these organizations like AOPC, we have the Chamber, we have Rotary, we have the Exchange Club, we have all of these different groups out in our community, SUBA, we have the Southern Wheel, we have the Board of Realtors, and they have all the boards that are put together that want to make the communication with the city. And those are the ones that we ought to do because they certainly hold their meetings. They don't have to be a public meeting, but those are the ones that we ought to communicate, and we do communicate, and they communicate with us.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else?
Yeah.
No? Dad? Okay, Tara, go
On the
ahead.
animal shelter, we kind of have a board. We have the execution committee that meets exclusively to decide whether or not an animal can be put to sleep by a veterinarian. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Ed, do you want to say something?
Who wants to be on that committee?
On the positive side, we could add, but I would just humbly suggest that, when we started our city council meetings, after the flag and invocation, we have various acknowledgments, awards, and almost at every meeting, if there's Boy Scouts in attendance, and sometimes there might be 3, 1, 2, 3, sometimes there's as many as 15 or 20, there's a whole bunch. And they all get to be called up and they all get to be acknowledged. That is an important function for our youth, to be able to recognize them, to make them part of their community, to get their merit badges. But perhaps we can find that if we rotated on certain days where that perhaps was left just open to the citizens. Now, Dan mentioned, organizations. The organizations sometimes turn out to be special interest groups. I think what John's alluding to and what I would support is opening it up to the citizens, people who come in, who can't get there any other time, and who really want to speak. And we don't want to hide what they're going to say. We want it to be on camera, and so that the entire community hears what's going on. That's transparency, and that's the type of things that I would suggest we do with more advisory boards, whether it's the airport board, or whether it's the Human Relations Commission or Water Board. And certainly we need a code enforcement board. Thank you.
Thank you both, or all three of you. Dan, a question for you.